I started playing violin when I was 2 years old, but it was when I was 11 years old that I sort of fell in love with it. I saw a documentary on TV of the great violin virtuoso Isaac Stern, and that inspired me. I wanted to be just like him, so I went from practicing like half an hour a day max to about 3 to 5 hours a day. I'm Charles Morey, a violinist with the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra. So one of the experiences that was valuable for me growing up was getting to play in a youth orchestra. When I first joined the Youth Strings in Charleston, West Virginia, I was put last chair, second violin, but it was a great experience. It sort of has an accelerating effect on your growth to be surrounded by other players your age. And of course to have a conductor, a director who's able to guide you in that way. One of the highlights of my career was getting to play with the composer John Williams. When I was with the Indianapolis Symphony, he came and guest conducted, and we got to play a lot of his movie music, Superman, Jaws, Jurassic Park. That was definitely a highlight because his music was very influential to me when I was a kid. Being in a symphony is awesome because you're surrounded by other musicians all the time, people who love music and have developed their talent to the nth degree. And it's just great to be able to do that day in and day out and play great music from Baroque to Romantic to contemporary. We do all kinds of stuff. I love music because it's a language that ultimately doesn't depend on words. One of the things I love about being a musician is that I can say whatever I want with the music. Of course, it requires discipline and patience and an attitude of learning, but in the end, what you get is total freedom on your instrument, and that's definitely worth it. One of the things I would recommend to anyone aspiring to improve their skills, apart from finding a good teacher and practicing a lot, is just to listen. So listen to great recordings of people playing your instrument or other instruments, because it's important to cultivate a world-class sound in your mind that can guide you as you're playing. Not that you have to copy it all the time, but just as a point of reference. One thing I definitely recommend is going to concerts, finding a great soloist doing a recital or going to hear an orchestra play. And getting to be in the room is very different than just listening to a recording. To have the sound washing over you, to see that this sound is coming from the violas over there and the percussion over there. It's a very immersive experience, and there's a lot of spontaneity. You never know what's going to happen next. And a very special bond is created between you and other audience members, as well as with the performers. Skills that I would consider to be fundamental to a musician are, of course, facility on your instrument, being able to play in tune with good rhythm, imagination, being able to sort of imagine what kind of character the composer was thinking of when he wrote the music. Also, alertness and awareness. Alertness to both things going on in the music, like interesting harmonies and rhythms that can inform how you play it, but also alertness to the players that you're collaborating with, things that they're doing that you can sort of spin off of or riff off of. Also awareness of the room, the audience, and what kind of vibe you're getting from them can inform your tempos and your dynamic contrasts and everything. So alertness is often an overlooked thing that to me is very, very important. A lot of times when we're students, what we care about the most is accurately playing the notes that are on the page. And of course, that's very, very important to play the rhythms accurately and in tune. But there's a whole other world out there, and that is the essence of what music is about, which is expression. Expressing what the composer had in mind, expressing the images that the music suggests, even to you as a performer, may be different than what the composer had in mind. There's so many variables that we can adjust to make our playing more expressive. For instance, pulse. You can change the tempo of a piece. You could even change it while you're playing it. If it needs to get more exciting, maybe going faster could help with that. You could adjust the rhythm, elongating certain notes to bring them out to suggest a certain character, or compressing other notes. You can do dynamic contrast. That one is often overlooked by students. A lot of times the composer gives you dynamics, which are very important to observe and even exaggerate sometimes. But sometimes you want to add your own little shades of softer on this part, louder on this part, following the shape of the line or something that can really help you play more expressively. I'm a musician and you can be too. Try this resource that could help you with your intonation and sense of pulse. Rhythm and pulse are two distinct things. Rhythm is sort of like the relationship between all the individual notes, whereas pulse is a deeper principle, sort of an organizing principle that structures everything. If you have a strong sense of pulse, you actually have more freedom with the individual rhythms. So a lot of apps have a metronome, and a metronome is just a steady beat that helps keep you on track rhythmically. And one of the things that I like to do to help with the sense of pulse is to silence a majority of the beats, so that during those silences, internally, you have to be counting, and then you see how well you've been counting when the click comes back. So for example, if I had something in 4/4, like the Bach double, which I'm about to play, I would maybe set the metronome to 8/4, and then I would silence all the beats except for 3 consecutive ones. And then I would play along with the metronome and see if I can line up when the click comes back. 3, 4, 3, 4, 1.